the unluckiest, or perhaps the luckiest woman in history, a haunted house like no other, and proof that dolphins are smarter than humans. Are these fantastical tales true, or have we pulled them straight from our imagination? Tonight it's time to test your abilities to decipher between fact or fiction.
The line that divides the factual from the unreal has long since blurred. The tales we once thought fantastical, now implanted as true. To decipher verity from the imagined, you must break from the ordinary and consider a universe where the outlandish prevails. Can you expand your mind to see beyond our perceived reality? Can you decide what's fact or fiction?
Some people seem to have 9 lives, and no matter what life throws at them, they survive against all the odds. Violet Jessup is one of these people, and she lived through not 1, not 2, but 3 fatal accidents that claimed over 1,000 lives.
Violet Jessup had always been committed to taking care of others, and as the eldest of 9 children born to Irish immigrant parents, she took on the role from an early age. So when her father died and her mother fell sick, she took a job as a ship stewardess to make money for her family. But Violet was to suffer terrible luck throughout her career, and she was destined to dodge death at sea an incredible 3 times. The first near miss came just 2 years into her career on the RMS Olympic in 1911. The luxury ship was the largest civilian liner at the time, and she was honored to be working aboard it. But one day, the Olympic smashed into a British warship and sustained serious damage. The sinking ship made it back to port before any lives were lost, and Violet was thankful to have survived. It would be just 3 years later that she would have to demonstrate her survival instincts again, this time aboard the infamous RMS Titanic. Violet was 24 when the ship struck an iceberg and sank in just under 2 hours, taking with it the lives of 1,503 innocent souls. Violet spent over an hour on deck helping non-English speaking passengers make it to safety, and as the water rose up around them, she continued to focus on saving the lives of others. Eventually, she was ordered onto a lifeboat, and she survived against the odds. This awful disaster didn't stop Violet's quest to make money for her family, though, and she soon found another job working as a stewardess for the British Red Cross aboard the HMHS Britannic. Unbelievably, she was also on board when this boat sank after an unexplained explosion. The ship sank in just 55 minutes and claimed 30 lives. Violet made it safely onto a lifeboat, but it was being sucked towards the ship's propellers, so she had to leap into the icy waters. She survived, but suffered a terrible head wound. So, did Violet's third brush with death stop her mission to make money to take care of her family? No, it did not. She was aboard another ship just 4 years later.
This story of luck and coincidence proves how many sacrifices some people will make to take care of their loved ones. But did Violet really survive these 3 shipwrecks? After those many brushes with death, could she have summoned the courage to keep going back out on the ocean? Let us know what you think by using our on-screen poll and in the comments section below as we get ready for our second story for tonight. Next up is the terrifying tale of the most haunted house in the United States.
Have you ever been walking down the hall in your house at night and felt eyes upon you? Perhaps you've seen a strange shadow out of the corner of your eye while watching TV. If so, maybe your house is haunted. But it definitely won't be as haunted as the Texas farmhouse that's known around the world as being one of America's most haunted houses. Texas is the nation's #1 cotton producer, and as such, slavery was a huge problem during the 30 years that it was legal in Texas. And for those poor souls bought by the owners of High Farm in Waco, the nightmare would be worse than they could ever have imagined. Dolores and Daniel Linder bought the farm in 1834, 2 years before the law allowed them to purchase slaves. Daniel didn't believe in slavery, but his wife insisted that they take advantage of the situation, and Daniel was too weak a man to stand up to her. Little did Daniel know that his cruel wife intended to torture and kill their slaves, and during a 10-year spell, it's thought that at least 50 slaves were subjected to inhumane experiments and unspeakably bad treatment. In fact, the terrible treatment only ended when neighbors became suspicious and the Linders skipped town before their crimes could be discovered. The farm has been owned by several families since, but none of them tend to stay for long. There are dozens of tales of blood-curdling screams in the night, and the sounds of chains rattling in the attic can be heard from the bedrooms below. People have also reported the stomach-churning smell of burning flesh, and that's what usually prompts fearful owners to move out. In fact, the property is up for sale right now. Would you dare live in a home marked by so many inhumane horrors?
Slavery has left a shameful scar on humanity, but did this awful occurrence also leave a scar on the house that it happened in? Could one woman be so cruel as to torture helpless victims for 10 years? Let us know your thoughts as we now prepare for our third and final tale for tonight. We all know that dolphins are good-natured and incredibly smart, but in one situation off the coast of Australia, they actually proved themselves to be smarter than humans.
It was a bright and sunny morning off the coast of the Australia beach town of Dunsborough, but there was panic on the shore. 2 beached sperm whales were in distress, and rescuers had been trying for hours to set them free. They weren't having any success, and a positive outcome for the whales was looking less and less likely with every passing minute. The pygmy sperm whales were a mother and a calf, and had become stranded almost 100 meters off the coast on a sandbar. The whales were becoming distressed, and every time they were moved off the sandbar, they would immediately become disoriented and would get stuck again. After several attempts to push the whales back out to sea, discussions began between rescuers about how they might have to put the majestic creatures down. But just then, a bottlenose dolphin appeared out of nowhere. It seemed to be responding to the whales' distress calls and instantly swam up to the mother and calf duo. She seemed to have a plan and quickly wedged herself between the stuck pair and somehow got them to head in the direction of the safety of the deeper water. Witnesses said that they could hear the mother whale and the dolphin making noises, which was confusing as it's thought that the two species aren't able to communicate. The 3 swam away, and rescuers watched on as the incredible and unlikely rescue unfolded. Just before they were out of sight, the dolphin leaped into the air in an apparent celebration of its successful rescue mission.
Animals as smart as dolphins are thought to have a 6th sense to danger, having been known to rescue humans in distress. But would they do the same for another species, like a sperm whale? Could the whales really understand what the dolphin was trying to tell them? While you decide on our third and final tale, let's get ready for the moment we've all been waiting for, the reveal.
Are you ready to find out if you can decipher between fact or fiction? Let's look back at tonight's 3 stories and find out which were born from reality and which were fabrications of the imagination.
First, we're returning to the seas and the apparently unsinkable Violet Jessup. Did one woman survive 3 terrifying accidents out on the ocean? Would she really have had the courage to keep going back to work after that many issues? Well, we're happy to tell you that yes, This story of bravery and family love is totally true. Violet Jessup worked aboard ships for many more years before settling in England and dying as an old lady warm in her bed in 1971. Next, we're going to Texas to revisit our horrifying tale of inhumane treatment and the enduring haunting that it caused. Could a woman really be so cruel to her slaves that the entire property would be scarred so badly? Did her husband really turn a blind eye to her unforgivable behavior for more than a decade? Well, no, this tale isn't true, and this haunted house doesn't really exist. There is a similar tale from New Orleans, though, and the Lalaurie Mansion in the French Quarter is said to be haunted by the slaves that were tortured at the hands of Madame Lalaurie. Finally, we're back in the ocean and to the scene of the incredible rescue of a sperm whale and her calf. Did a single dolphin really show up to save the day? Although fantastical sounding, this story is absolutely true. Known as Moko the dolphin by locals in Mahia, New Zealand, for being playful and sweet-natured, that day in 2008, she proved herself to also be a hero.
How well did you do in tonight's video? Did you look past the deception of our world and define the off-blurred line that struggles to separate lies from the truth? Let us know in the comment section below. And should you find the urge to test your perceptions again, be sure to subscribe and join us next time when we ask you to decide what's fact or fiction.